Now
we're going.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to this week's Creature Feature. Before I get started, I want to thank all of you for helping us name our new animal ambassador alligator. Smog was the winner, so hopefully you guys will get to see Smog around this summer, and we'll be able to use that alligator for educational purposes. But now on to this week's Creature Feature. If you're joining us right now, please feel free to say hello, let us know how you're doing. And as always, if you have any questions throughout this live feed, feel free to ask. We'll get to them as we can. If we don't get to them during the live feed, we promise to answer at the end. So, this week's Creature Feature is our North Carolina State Reptile. So has anyone figured out what it is? So it is our eastern box turtle. Here's a box turtle shell to give you an idea. So our eastern box turtle, that is this week's Creature Feature. It is North Carolina's state reptile, if you didn't know that. Now to give you kind of an idea, what's the difference between some different types of turtles? So we have box turtles, which actually are in their own group. We'll talk about that in a moment, but you've probably heard of tortoise and the hare. So tortoises are turtles that only live on land. So if you've met our desert tortoise here at the museum, he is a tortoise because he only lives on land and lives in the desert. Then we have box turtles, which we'll get to a little more in a moment. We also have aquatic turtles or terrapins. So this is a shell from a yellow-bellied slider. Get that? And so as you can see, the shell's a little bit different from some of our other turtles. Turtles that live on land, like tortoises or a box turtle here for another reason, have more domed shells. Our sliders have more flat shells that helps them swim faster in the water, as they can't hide completely in the shell. So they're going to swim away in order to escape. And our last group of turtles, which happens to be one of my favorites, is our sea turtle. And our sea turtle, you're going to notice, is going to be a lot different from our other turtles. One, they have some of the flattest shells because they spend most of their life swimming. They only come on land when they're born or to come back and nest or lay eggs. And you'll notice that they do not really have claws. They have one on each of their fins to basically help them with digging or holding on when they're laying eggs. So, but as I said, today our focus is on our box turtle, and so to talk more about him, we are actually going to meet our ambassador box turtle. His name is Bob, so give me just one moment to get him out. So here we go, guys. Here is Bob, our box turtle. Now, to give you a couple of facts or things about how we know he's a box turtle. So, for starters, we talked about that dome shell. Now these guys do live in swampy type habitats, so they'll go into shallow water, but they can't swim. That's why they make them a little different than a tortoise, because they're not always on land, but different than our sliders because they're not always in water and they can't really swim. So this dome shell has a couple of purposes. And does anyone know what the biggest reason turtles use their shell for? So you guys got it. He uses it for protection. So you kind of saw this shell at the beginning. Box turtles get their name because when they are scared, they hide completely in their shell and look kind of like a box. Now, no other type of turtle besides species of box turtles can do that. So they need a little more space in their shell. That's why it's higher and domed in order to do that. The drawback is when your shell is higher or more domed, you cannot run or move away as quickly. So they have adapted to be able to hide completely in their shells as their form of protection instead of running away. That also means they have a lot of claws on their feet, and you'll notice they have no webbed feet, so there's no skin in between their toes. And the reason for that is, again, they're not going out there swimming or anything like that. But you may see a box turtle in some shallow water, soaking. As you saw on here, you can see that their shell is made out of bone, so that's what's underneath, and it's covered in scutes, so some of their scutes had fallen off. That's actually made out of keratin, so like our hair or our nails, and that helps protect their shell. And so they do have to shed their scutes at times, and to do that, they may need to soak in water. So before we go any further on box turtles, does anyone have any questions? Okay, so what do they eat? So in the wild, box turtles are omnivores. They eat both meat and plants. They'll eat a lot of whatever they can catch or get. But here at the museum in captivity, we feed them a varied diet. They get fruits and vegetables. They also get different forms of meat. So they may get a pinky, which is a baby mouse, or they may get some insects, crickets, mealworms, cockroaches. They also sometimes get chicken and fish. So we try to vary their diet to give them a variety of different forms of protein so that they are able to grow. Now we have Bob here at the museum because he was attacked by a predator when he was younger, and it's hard to tell right now, but if you got a chance to look at it closely, he has lots of scarring from breaks and stuff in his shell that luckily did heal, but that's why he ended up staying here at the museum with us. Now, to talk more about how box turtles hide in their shells, I'll show everyone this line right here in his shell. So again, box turtles are the only ones that you're going to see that have that line. What it is a hinge joint or hinge point. So if you guys take your elbow, bend it in and out, that's exactly what Bob here can do with his shell in order to hide completely in it and help protect himself. Any more questions? Okay, so another thing about box turtles, as most reptiles, they do lay eggs. And so you may actually, sometimes people find box turtles' nests and things like that. They'll lay eggs. They do not take care of their young though. So when they hatch out, they go off on their own. A baby box turtle is about the size of a quarter. And this guy here is pretty much full grown, so they don't get really big. We also know he is a boy because he has red eyes. Let's see if I can give you guys a chance to kind of look at that. He has red eyes. So the males have those red eyes. Males also tend to have colorful shells, but due to a lot of the damage and stuff that happened to his shell, it's not quite as vibrant. But that's how you can tell a male. Another way is males have this dent in their shell. So it kind of goes in a little bit. You're not going to see that with females. So we know Bob here is a male. Okay, so great question. What do you do if you see a box turtle in the road? Because I know a lot of people see turtles and you want to help them. And it is great to help them as long as you first make sure it's safe for you. So please don't stop, don't jeopardize yourself for trying to get a box turtle. But if you are able to, if it is safe for you to get that box turtle, what's really important is that you pick him up and move him in the direction he's trying to go. Box turtles do know where water is. They do know where they want to go. So if, for example, Bob was crossing the road this direction, you picked him up and put him back over here, he would just turn around and try to cross the road again. So make sure if you are going to help out a box turtle, and again, it has to be safe for you, you're going to pick him up and move him to the side of the road that he's trying to head in, because he knows where he wants to go. He knows where there's water, or he knows where there's food, or he knows, where there may be another turtle that he wants to mate with. Okay, so another question I get a lot is, can you keep turtles as pets? Now, there are turtles that are sold at pet stores that people can keep as pets, but it is illegal to take any native turtle and make it your own pet. So if you do see a box turtle, please don't pick it up. Please don't take it with you. Please don't paint its shell. That's actually really bad for them too, because it makes them very bright and easily found by predators, and can also cause growth and shell damage. So if you find a box turtle, view it from a distance, enjoy it from a distance. Please leave it where it's at unless you're trying to help it, but don't take it inside your house. Not even for a week, not even for a short period of time. That can still be really detrimental or bad for a turtle. In fact, studies have found that box turtles know their home territory, so if you go put them back in an area that they didn't originally live, a lot of times they don't make it. Because that wasn't where they were born, they don't know where their resources are, and there's probably some other predators and other turtles and things like that they're competing with. So it's really important that you keep a turtle where it's at. Now, if you do want to get a turtle from the store, that's great. I do ask so that you are prepared for them to live 50 plus years. If you get an aquatic turtle like one of our sliders, red-eared sliders are a very common pet. They're really cute when they're little. Again, they're the size of that quarter, but they can grow up to the size of a dinner plate, and they need to live in water. So you need a 120, 150 gallon tank by the time they're full grown. So be prepared for those things, and it's a lot of cleaning. Turtles do use the bathroom frequently. They do make a lot of mess, so you're gonna have to be prepared to put in a lot of energy into a pet turtle. Okay, do we have any other questions today? Okay, so we're gonna finish up by talking about why do we have Bob as an animal ambassador here? And of course, part of it is, we're in North Carolina. We teach about North Carolina reptiles and things like that. And this guy's our state reptile. He's also commonly found. People do find box turtles fairly frequently. They can live in a variety of habitats too. You can even find them in your backyard sometimes. So, if we want people to understand what box turtles are, we want them to understand why to protect them, why they're important, so that we do have these guys outside and can enjoy them in our natural habitat. And I said Bob here couldn't go back out in the wild, so he stays here and helps us teach about turtles. So before I finish up, any other questions?
There's a question about, they have a pond in the wild. Can the turtle in ducks eat the same thing?
So typically you're not gonna have, like, so if you're thinking about like feeding turtles and ducks, I do know people that throw in bread and throw in dry food and things like that. The ducks and the turtles will eat the same thing. It is not healthy for either one of them though. So typically you don't want to throw in food, you don't want to try to feed them. Now, a duck or a turtle could try to eat the same insects or the same plants that are along the side, but ducks can fly away, they can go find other sources of food further away. Turtles are going to stay in the same kind of area, so they're going to eat kind of on those same types of materials with other turtles.
The turtles that are in the pond at the museum, what kind of turtles are they?
Okay, we do have a variety of turtles in our pond. We have some snapping turtles, so yes, we do. At least I know of one. We used to have a couple. But I think because the one got so big, that's now his territory. We also have in our pond a lot of different sliders. The two ones you're going to see all the time are red-eared sliders and yellow-bellied sliders. Our yellow-bellied sliders are what this turtle looks like. Right here, it has a yellow belly, is how it's got its name. And they are native to North Carolina. Our red-eared sliders look similar with the shell to our yellow-bellied sliders, but they actually have like red where you'd think they'd have an ear, so it's kind of a mark on the side of their head. They are not native to North Carolina. They were actually brought here due to the pet trade. People would buy them. When they got big, release them. And they actually cause a lot of issues to our local pond and river ecosystems. Okay, awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me today. Bob and I thank you. Hopefully you'll join us next week for our next creature feature. And before I go, may the fourth be with you.